I don't understand the constant chest thumping about Hindutva and Bharat without having the courage to actually reclaim the spirit of Bharat. A party which was lost was given land by the Supreme Court when it doesn't deserve to be given land. You have enough property through Waqf property and you're anyway claiming more, the rest of Bharat also. You keep building there. At the very least, the history of each of these places needs to come out. People should know Ram Janmabhoomi was not isolated. People should know Kashi was not isolated. And people should know this was not exactly a northern-centric phenomenon. Across the board.
But what is disturbing a lot of people, especially youngsters, is about what is happening with regard to Sambhal, Places of Worship Act, Waqf, all this coming up, and a sense of anxiety that are we heading into a period of social unrest?
I think your audience deserves honesty. Therefore, let me, for the benefit of their consumption, disclose the fact that I represent the Kashi royal family in the proceedings there. So obviously, I've chosen a side. And considering the fact that the matter is sub judice, I'll keep my comments tempered on the subject. But nevertheless, what already exists in public domain through my articles and speeches, I think I can speak on that. So the optics of it, or the social unrest part of it, if a court order of a survey incites violence or results in unprovoked violence, or the court order itself is seen as a provocation, then there is a problem in the manner in which the Indian state's exclusive claim over the monopoly of violence or force has been challenged. You can't even enforce a court order. And two, if a lawful legal proceeding and action is brought to a grinding halt under the fear of stone pelting, what does it say about your aspirations of becoming a Vishwaguru?
Okay.
What exactly are you projecting by way of strength? If you can't project strength internally, don't hope for others to take you seriously outside. 3, the action, in my limited submission, since the matter is sub judice, is perfectly legal. And I said as much in court. So, let's see how it plays out. I'll keep my powder dry for the court. Without getting into the legality of it, I believe it is legal. There are articles to this effect that I've written. But I think constitutional institutions owe their allegiance to the law, to the constitution, and they should simply ask themselves whether these proceedings must be held hostage under the shadow or threat of violence. I hope they won't be. And 2, what does it do to the rights of all those parties who have a right under the law to initiate these proceedings? That is the basic question. See, if social unrest becomes the barometer for any action, कोई भी किसी को पैसे देके 40-50 लोगों को इकट्ठा करेगा और पत्थर फेंकना शुरू करेगा. That immediately questions the law and the legal action. ऐसे थोड़ी होगा. That can't be the barometer or the yardstick for it. 3, I genuinely hope that this matter is heard quickly and it is decided regardless of reactions of any section of the public or community from whichever side. Decide it on merits. Deal with it on merits. Let's apply the black letter of the law along with its spirit and ask ourselves whether what has been happening in the context of Kashi and Mathura are truly unconstitutional or illegal or impermissible or so on and so forth. Let's test that.
But it's not just Kashi Mathura. Now there are so many. The lower courts admitted several.
So
it's going to be several of them, and now they can't.
Right.
Because there's a stay now.
That I agree. See, let's look at the biggest bogey that's constantly cited. Ek khula to kitne khulenge? You're opening the floodgates. Floodgates to what? Floodgates to what? Reclamation. And I don't understand the constant chest thumping about Hindutva and Bharat without having the courage to actually reclaim the spirit of Bharat. And I've said this before, that if the Supreme...
Aren't the mosques also spirit of Bharat?
I agree. But as long as they are not on occupied sites.
That is where the dispute occurs.
That is where the dispute occurs. So what are we saying? See, the Supreme Court itself, through its verdict of the Ayodhya case, on which I have certain disagreements, has shown the path. A party which was lost was given land by the Supreme Court when it doesn't deserve to be given land. You have enough property through Waqf property and you're anyway claiming more, the rest of Bharat also. You keep building there. It is possible to simply evolve a process of exchange, which, although is not necessary or required, you can do this in the interest of peace. But if you wish to retain an occupied site, knowing fully well that it has a seriously contentious history and history that goes against you, and you still hold on to it, how do you expect an awakened Bharat to respond to it when history is beginning to resurface? Pun intended.
How many places will you keep saying that this is occupied, that is occupied? How are you going to say it? Because what you said once is that there are 4,000 sites.
Actually, I said 40,000.
40,000,
And that
sorry.
figure could have been exaggerated. But what did I say? We spoke of one wasn't acceptable. We spoke of three, it wasn't acceptable. I said, then if negotiation has no room here, then why will I limit the scope of my claim? मांगना ही तो सारा मांग लो अभी. What is the point?
कि कुछ तो मिलेगा.
Exactly. And not just that. Kuch to milega is a different issue. At the very least, the history of each of these places needs to come out. People should know Ram Janmabhoomi was not isolated. People should know Kashi was not isolated. And people should know this was not exactly a northern-centric phenomenon. Across the board.
Tipu.
100%. Tipu and so many places. I think in Warangal, so many temples. Shaktipeethas are there. Therefore,
Kashmir.
What exactly? And Kashmir is also in the 90s, for God's sakes. Not just, you're not talking about the medieval ages. So what these proceedings do is to give you an opportunity to present evidence, which unfortunately haven't found their way into textbooks. It will generate a discourse. Hopefully it should trigger introspection.